What if I told you I could make you smarter? I could allow you to think more critically and more strategically, and I could do it through the use of video games. What would you say? Would you believe me? I'm sure that there are a lot of people out there that are watching this video that would think that that's impossible. Video games are just a waste of time in general. Like most things, brothers and sisters, I want to show you today the other side of the coin. This video is not to tell you that there isn't bad or even worse video games out there, but it's here to show you that there are good video games out there that we can enjoy, we can play, and that can actually be beneficial to us in our real life. To me, there are basically three different categories of video games in general. And it's based off of an old Clint Eastwood movie that I really like, and it's called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. In this movie, Clint Eastwood, he basically teams up with this bad guy against an ugly guy, and they go throughout their adventure. And video games are really similar in that sense. There are good video games that do a lot for us. There are bad video games that have some value but have really negative influences in them. And there are downright ugly video games that we should avoid entirely. So, the point, brothers and sisters, what does a good video game look like? According to RaiseSmarterChildren.com, a good video game involves strategy. And quoting from them, strategy games require the brain to plan, strategize, and manage limited resources and logistics. When playing a strategy game, the player has to be flexible and has to be quick to changing tactics when something unexpected happens. Just like in real life. Playing a strategy game also involves making fast analysis and quick decisions, sometimes with incomplete information. Complex strategy-based games can improve other cognitive skills, including working memory and reasoning. One of my favorite video games that is mentioned by this website in particular is called StarCraft 2. It's a real-life, real-time strategy game. This game is basically like chess if you had to do 7 different things all at once. You're building a base, you're managing resources, you're seeing what your opponent's doing, and you're doing it all in real time against a real opponent. You have to plan. You have to strategize. Certain times, a quick army will get you a win. Others, you may want to go for resources. And these decisions can apply to anything in life, especially if you're looking at like a test. We want to look at a test and we want to see how we can work around that test. See it differently. Plan different angles of attack, and so forth. Good games, brothers and sisters, will help you do that. Now, what is a bad game? I'm sure that there are some things that come to mind, but to me, a bad game is basically one that doesn't have real value. That you can basically sit down and sit in front of, and you don't really have to plan at all. Sometimes Satan puts his fingers in those games and he adds excessive violence, excessive language, and even nudity in some of the newer games now. These games are basically very unstrategic, but really a first-person shooter that you run around and you do one thing. And we'll move on to the ugly video games. These video games, brothers and sisters, I'm sure that you know about. Elder Bednar gave a beautiful talk about staying in reality and avoiding getting sucked into virtual reality with games like World of Warcraft, where you are required to complete certain tasks in a row but there are unlimited tasks. And so you basically get sucked into this game that really does nothing for you. It doesn't teach you how to think, how to reason, how to do anything. You're just doing certain tasks, and it sucks you in. Brothers and sisters, there are many games out there that we can play. There are apps on our iPads, there's apps on our phones. Even something as simple as an app like chess, which would allow you to think through certain moves and begin to plan 2 moves ahead, 3 moves ahead, 4 moves ahead, and so on. Brothers and sisters, I know in my life, StarCraft 2 has played a huge role. It's allowed me to think more strategically about school, about life, about marriage, and really see where I want to go in my life. It's allowed me to think analytically and critically, and has actually gotten me a good job with a good firm. A lot of people don't think that video games can do that for you, but strategy games can. And I would encourage you, brothers and sisters, to invest some time in finding real good games. Avoid the bad ones, and really enjoy what we have been given and offered. And I hope that this has opened your mind a little bit to what's out there. Always remember good, better, and best, and for video games, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Thank you.